Hey, we're here with Izzy Garth. So, you just performed and sang us. How many songs did you sing?
About like 6.
Whoa, really? Wow. Okay, so I saw you before you came. You were a little bit nervous. How are you feeling now?
Definitely not nervous, but I'm happy with how I went.
Yeah. So when you like singing, right, and you walk away and you're like, okay, that was so good. What are you kind of like, comparing yourself to, rating yourself to, that kind of thing?
Could you reword that pretty please?
Okay, so you know how we like self-evaluate ourselves and we're like, okay, that was pretty good. Like, what's the kind of self-talk that you're doing afterwards?
Well, I do tend to be pretty rough on myself, but I do say that if I messed up, at least I got through the set. Yeah. But usually I'm happy with myself.
Okay, cool. And are you thinking about your pitch? Are you thinking about how you stood? What type of thing thinking about when you're singing?
Probably stage presence, as I have a bad habit of just standing still.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I did, so I was asking you before we started interviewing if you make your own songs, because I love writing lyrics. It's awesome. What do you find that inspires you to write your songs?
I find that I like writing songs that are similar to like the olden days, like 1920s sort of songs, because I find there's a lot of techno house music and it's just taking away the essence of music and art. Yeah.
And so what is music and art and how it's taking away the essence of it? What do you feel like it's lacking, or what are you thinking in regards to that?
I'm thinking that it's like music's all about the emotions and all that and stories to tell rather than, I dated someone. Yay.
Yeah. So when you're singing and it's your music, are you kind of like in the moment thinking about it, and that's how you show that emotion through your song? Or what are you thinking about when you're singing to show that emotion through what you've worded?
I usually like pick a topic or something that evokes that emotion for me, and I just think of that the whole song.
Wow, that is so powerful, because then that way your message is going to flow. And then what about when you're sitting and writing a song, do you sometimes have to come back to it, or do you have to,
Definitely. Most of the time, instead of writing, I just zone out at the wall. Very bad habit of mine, but usually I just put on a playlist, and then if I like hear like something that I like, I'll like use that in my own way, sort of thing.
Totally know what you're saying. When I'm writing lyrics, I'll just be like, sometimes in a zone and be like, zoom, zoom, and I can do a whole song. Sometimes I'm like, nah, I got to go back to it. So do you find, obviously you said you listen to playlists and doing that, but when you're writing the music, also what's the kind of, like, so, for our listeners out there, understanding like, the flow of music and that, what kind of sequence or what type of things are you thinking about when you are writing music? You know how there's different, do you want to tell your audience more about that?
Yeah. I'd like to think of music, like writing lyrics and stuff, as poetry rather than lyrics, because, well, it helps you get a flow of it, helps you actually push your meaning more. Yeah, and I also find I need to rhyme to write good lyrics.
Yeah. I know, right? It just gives you that like, okay, awesome. And so what made you, and I'm sure people ask you, but what made you want to be a singer?
Okay, so the story starts when I was about 8.5. My school were giving singing lessons for like really, really cheap, and at that point I'd recently stopped horse riding because my parents were like, it's dangerous, which it is. It's a bit dumb back then. And I needed a hobby to do, so I started singing, and within 3 lessons, my school was like, you know what, do a duet with a year 6, and we're doing The Climb for Miley Cyrus. But on the day that the performance was, this was in front of the whole school, we had an arts extravaganza, she pulled out from nerves. So I had to sing The Climb for Miley Cyrus by myself at 8.5 years old.
Whoa. Okay, when you got to do that, you really have to like pull some like words, you know, like in your mind and get you some confidence? What were you thinking, or can you remember?
I was mainly just thinking there is way too many people here.
Yeah. Okay, that is so cool. Because it's true, right? Yeah, like you're doing it in front of people. It can be nerve-wracking. What type of advice would you give people when they're getting all they're all nervous and they're like thinking, you know what, if Izzy can do this, I can do this. So what words of encouragement do you want them to have in their mind?
If it's the crowd you're scared of, don't look at their faces. That's the biggest mistake you could make. Just look above them, because the audience thinks, oh, you're looking at me, woohoo, but really you're just looking at the back wall, singing to the back wall. And then also, don't focus so much on the technique of the song or what part's next. Just make sure you rehearse well and just think of the meaning behind the song. Then your mind will be occupied with that emotion, and then you won't be thinking there's a crowd there.
That's really, really, really great advice. And what about for your audience that, you know, they're like a little bit scared and they're thinking, oh, should I do this, should I shouldn't, you know, and all that kind of thing? What would you say or encourage them with to just step out of their comfort zone and like do it? What would you say to them?
I'd say the biggest thing would probably be follow your gut feeling. If you're thinking maybe I should do it, do it. Because experience is better than leaving it out and watching other people get the opportunities.
And I saw your parents come in with you. They were so excited. What would you want to say to them if they were listening right now? Because they're not listening, so what would you like to say to them?
Oh, that's hard. Because I'm usually very honest with my parents, and if I want to say something, I'll say it to them. I'll probably just say thank you for supporting me with all my singing, because I know there's parents out there who would refuse to let their kids like do music and stuff because it's not an academic thing that could get them money. But then again, if you're given the opportunity and you do well, all the most famous celebrities are singers. So, yeah.
Yeah, totally, right? Yeah. Because sometimes we just really have to be doing what we're passionate about doing. Yeah. You know, and when you're talking about it, I love the fact that you're getting excited about it and you're sparkling in your eye. I love that, because that's what we should be doing. This is why we're doing what we're doing, right? We need to be doing it and loving what we're doing. And so what would be some parting words you want to tell us?
Well, first of all, to those people who say they can't sing, everyone can sing. It's just about if you put the effort in. And then also, just follow what you want to do. Don't be forced into something you don't really want to do, because then you won't be happy.
Yeah, and it is about that, right?
Yeah.
So what motivates you to sing and to keep going?
Mainly just because it's my passion. I want to sing. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. We really, really appreciate it. And, you know, enjoy the rest of this day. It's totally amazing. And for Izzy's followers who already know her, that's awesome. I'm sure you're following her. But if you want to follow her, where do we find you?
You can find me on Izzy Sings Official on Instagram, and I'm pretty sure on YouTube too.
Okay.
And also on Spotify, you can find me under Izzy G with my 2 songs that I've released.
Wow, totally amazing. And if you wanted to do your random hashtags that you might want to do, what types of hashtags do you normally do with your songs?
I mainly just put like hashtag musician, hashtag singer, so like people can, if they're searching up singer, they can find me, rather than hashtag Forest.
I love it, love it, love it. And what's the names of your songs?
Okay, so my first one I released when I was 12 years old is called Gravitation. It's basically about that transition of like graduating from primary school to high school, but then again, it could also just be whatever you want. It's up for interpretation. And my more recent one is Daydreamer. That's sort of like a little love song, and I've got another one coming out very soon.
Well, stay tuned for that, because you've got one coming out soon. Thanks, everyone. Bye.